Hello and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. All of a sudden, it's spring in California. Well, that's just fabulous, isn't it? I'll take it. Anyways, out for some exercise today. This is going to be a combo. Right? Good God, it's gear time, but actually, it's more about why you need to prepare and what's coming our way. So, to start off with, I've been taking supplements. We're going to see if we can get some of them up on the preparedmind.club. Right? I'll get Jolene on the case. They are really common products. I've used them back when I was strongman training, powerlifting, and they all work. It doesn't matter what brand you get, they all work. Basically, it's just a bunch of L-arginine, ornithine, L-lysine, but they work really well. They have been John tested and John approved, and I'm taking them right now. And when you work out, you feel the pump, and it's just good for you, getting in shape. Additionally, I'm wearing the instead of it's kind of wetsuit material, but I'm going to call it sweatsuit. The idea is to help me sweat off some of this excess water in my muscle and around my torso area. So, give you a good look at it. I've worn this a few times now. It does the trick. It does take off some water. You know, does it go right back? I don't know. A combination of the sweating and also the working out. I've had a number of women who I call chubby chasers. They've been highly disappointed that I've kind of slimmed down around the midsection. Well, too bad for them. Anyways, when shit hits the fan, we're gonna want to be in shape. And so I highly recommend doing that. Getting in shape. Do what you can. Not everyone is a fucking athlete, I know it. You know, I'm starting off and doing this video in walk mode, and as soon as I'm done with you guys, I'm gonna turn it up and start some jogging. You've got to be in shape. In fact, in a couple weeks, I'm heading to San Diego for work, and don't know if I'll do it, but it would be nice to be in good enough shape to sport the bikini banana hammock at the pool. That would be nice to do that, right? All those young guys will be embarrassed. Anyways, enough silliness. Let's get down to some real business. This was Easter weekend. It just passed. And it was shocking because of the temerity of the enemies of the West. Right? Now, there was a time when when Muslim culture was at the top. It was the pinnacle of thinking and science. That was 1,000 years ago, literally 1,000 years ago. Their greatness was great. And since then, they have become backwards. They have become fundamentally crippled. You could even say intellectually crippled. It's too bad, but here we are today, right? And what do they want to do? They want to blow up churches. They want to blow up restaurants. They want to blow up shopping centers. They want to murder and kill people. You need to be prepared because these idiots are not stopping. Right? They killed over 200 people. See the CNN report that Jolene's going to list here on Patreon as well. It's an actual news report from CNN. It was actually done by Jake fucking Tapper, the moron. And it just goes to show that they know how to do news. And that he knows how to leave his opinion out of it. Prepared Mind, this is an opinion channel for me and you to share our opinions with each other. CNN is supposed to be news, right? A news network. They actually did it on Easter Sunday and reported news. And it just goes to show that they're hypocrites, that they know what they're doing, right? And they're morons. They're intellectually dishonest morons. But they got the news right. Over 200 people killed in Sri Lanka on Easter. Churches burned and bombed. But that's not the only place that that's happening, right? European churches have been being attacked by these radical, crazy Fruit Loops. What's important to note, though, is that it is worldwide, and it is being fomented, it's being encouraged, it's being sponsored, and yes, it's even being financed by enemies of our culture. You see, the Western culture, as poor as it is, wouldn't be as poor if it was not for the social engineering, legal manipulation, and other fuckaroo bonsai activity by politicians who take their money in hand and then screw things up as required, right? They're fulfilling their contract with uber wealthy jackasses who want our culture destroyed. The question is why? Why would they want to destroy it? Well, read 1984, read Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and you will see why. And if you can't read between the lines, then just ask and someone will get you some help. But you cannot replace a successful civilization, even one with flaws. You can't replace them. Not if they're successful. And Western culture has by and large proven itself to be a success, right? Medically, we do pretty good. We've got some good surgery and some other things. Preventative care has been corrupted by the pharmaceutical industry, where they would rather treat a disease than cure it. But we've done pretty well in medical, right? Legally, we've got some great ideas, or legal, political, great ideas. Yes, we do. We've got some pretty good ideas out there. Pure democracy sucks. Representative Republican works. Freedom is a good thing for individuals, and it keeps government in check. But we can't have that. We need it destroyed because it is time to replace it. But you can't replace a successful mechanism, right? Our economy, when it was actually a free market, was successful. Business models had to prove themselves. Workers had to be satisfied, right? The middle class had to exist, and it could work. So what do they need in order to substitute it for something else? Happy Easter! They need it substituted, right? They need it destroyed so they can substitute their own shit. And what is that own shit? They want full-on global fascism, international fascism. That's what they want. So they have to destroy us. But they can't do it with just Muslims bombing people. That would make it a religious and holy war. Doesn't make it any less religious and any less holy to the Muslims, but that's not enough. They've got to destroy us. Destroy what we've got on every front, period. And so what have we got? Early this morning I got one hell of an email from John letting me know what the fuck is going on in the Bay Area right now. And thankfully I'm not in the Bay Area, and unfortunately he is. So at the very least I get constant reports which just let me know exactly what the hell's going on there. Right? It's the same thing that's going on in Chicago, just with a West Coast flavor to it. And I described how I get reports out of Chicago about what the young hoods are doing, why they're doing it, right? In the Bay Area, they take BART, which is Bay Area Rapid Transit, and it's a subway system and a train system. And they take these idiot hoods all over the place, right? But it's not gang activity. You see, it's behavior and activity that is being, well, shall we say, encouraged, both directly and indirectly by allowing it to happen. By allowing it to happen, because they've destroyed parts of the economy, because there's an entitlement-based mentality and a victim mentality by the people that perpetrate the stupidity. That is what we're dealing with. That's specifically what many are dealing with in the Bay Area. There are immigrant groups in the Bay Area who want to burn and destroy people's property, ruin neighborhoods, ruin the cityscape, everything, right? With their filth and their pollution, with their poor attitudes, with their refusal to assimilate. And remember, assimilation is the main problem with migration. You have to combine assimilation into our culture to make immigration work. Doesn't mean you can't carry good components of one's other, right, culture, as long as they're good, right? But, you know, burning your daughter to death for being a whore, that's not a good thing to bring along, right? Anyways, here we are. That's the Bay Area. Burning, looting, pollution, destruction. It's just not reported on the news that you get to watch. Hell, even just a couple hundred miles away, I don't get to see it. You know, I don't really want to, but it's kind of good to know, don't you think? It's good to know what's coming our way. You see, this is what's going on while times are good. While shit isn't hitting the fan, while the economy appears to be fine, while there's plenty of entitlement money being handed out, freebies, wealth redistribution, and social pandering to pussies who want a bunch of attention and to be rewarded for being victims, right? It's actually really fucking disgusting to see how these people operate, how they recruit people into their pathetic causes. You know, what is my cause? My cause is freedom, knowledge, and action for the individual. How bad is that? The action is getting prepared, being self-sufficient, self-reliant, right? Because it's going to be necessary when shit hits the fan here. But see, this problem that I'm discussing is not just Sri Lanka. It's not just our brothers over in Paris. It's not just in Chicago and the Bay Area. It's everywhere. Every city is seeing this enacted, and we see hot spots of it, like our idiotic, retarded cousins to the north in Portland, right? Who want to outdo Berkeley and their stupidity. And so they have a competition, racing to the bottom, right, of intellectual vacancy and vagrancy. But here we are, our country, every city. Like I said, today in my area of California, it just turned into spring. Looks like the whole week will be that way. But the American rising of these morons is going to start. All their pent-up hatred of Trump, of the Constitution, of people like you who think you're entitled to keep what you have earned. That you only have what you have because of your entitlement as a white person, as a male, as someone who speaks proper and clear English and has good manners and applies their education, right? You're hated for that. Well, fuck, I know all about that shit. Look at me, right? Never mind the hard work, the effort, right? The application of intellect and strength. You know, those can't be the reason for one's success. No, we have to blame my skin color, my age, my height, my racial pedigree, as if it's my fault, right? The best examples are people of any color, size, gender, that actually bust their ass and make something of themselves. And it's even more commendable when they don't come from a rich family. But trust me, there are people who come from rich families, and I'm not talking about the 1%, I'm just talking about rich, right? Make a couple $100,000 a year, that kind of rich. They still have to apply themselves. They don't just get the golden fucking parachute out the gate. But let's talk about the southern border a little. What is happening down there? We are getting immigrants from around the world being funneled through Mexico. This problem isn't just Mexicans, even though Mexican immigration has always been an issue. Especially, right, the last 100 years, but even before that, hell. Right, border protection back then was pretty low, but it's a different world. Today, yeah, there are Mexicans who want to come across and just take full advantage and fuck us over. Steal our money, our property, make life hell, bring in drugs, prostitution, murder for hire, gangland control. But it's not just the shithead Mexicans, right? And I'm leaving good Mexicans completely out of this. God bless them, I love them. But it's the other parts of the world that are being brought here by people like Soros, who are funding through their NGOs, non-government organizations. They make it sound so fucking politically correct, like it's actually a good goddamn thing to do, right? It's not. NGOs that are socially inclined, get the fuck out of here. Send some bandages, send some antibiotic ointment, and just shut the fuck up and get out of the way. You don't get to fund migration efforts to bring shit into the Western and civilized world to destroy it. But that's what they're doing. We've got Central Americans and South Americans coming up here. And while there may be some true political refugees, if we want to call them that, asylum seekers, for the most part, it is the worst of the worst. They're wanted for crimes in their own country, so they're fleeing accountability and responsibility for themselves and coming up here. And people like Soros, people in the Democrat Party, both admitted and I guess we could call them sly, right? Covert socialists and communists. They want to destroy our country. And they can't replace it with what they have in mind. You know, social fascism. They can't replace it unless they destroy what we have first. Right? And that's
Total
not just going to be
1
through
mile.
economic destruction.
Total time 17 minutes and 1 second.
They can't just do
Split
it that way.
pace 16 minutes 58 seconds
How are
per
they gonna do
mile.
it? They have to do it emotionally by causing so much havoc, right, that the emotional response overrides, right, the intellect, and people clamor and cry for help, and the government says, we've got your solution, Hegelian dialect. But down on the border, we've got Central Americans, South Americans, heavily criminalized nations that have elements of communism involved. They're also sending over to Central America and also directly to Mexico, Africans, Middle Eastern people who have no desire to immigrate legally, naturalize, and assimilate into Western culture. They are bringing not only their bodies, which will need to be supported off of our tax dollars, but they're also bringing their sick, twisted ideologies, both religious and secular. And on top of that, they're bringing their filthy diseases. You know, it's not that they haven't been vaccinated, it's that they've lived in filth. And I'm sorry about that, but don't bring it here and then expect us to suffer under that kind of shit. Right? Tuberculosis, right? How good is that, right? There's a reason we want to eradicate it. These people are sick in the head and they're sick in the body, which is a crime as far as I'm concerned, but it wasn't committed by us, and I don't think it's our responsibility to deal with it, to have to suffer under it as well. This idea of, right, all cultures need to share not only the benefits but the diseases. While who gets what they want? Uber wealthy, 1%, mega corporation, internationalists, globalists, and politicians who stand to benefit while everything is collapsed and then replaced. That is why you need to prepare. That's why you need to go to the preparedmind.club and get whatever goodies you need, because when the shit hits, right, when the big emotional event overcomes everybody and everyone's overwhelmed by it and they start to panic, you need to be ready then. Doesn't mean you can't run to the store and get some more goodies if possible, but you need to realize that you need to be ready then already, ahead of time. Right? You can't show up late to a sold out function and expect to get prime seats. You can't do it. It's not going to happen. Right? Even when you're a well-known YouTube celebrity in the prepper world. I always make my reservations early. I show up and ensure I get the seat at the table I wanted. Right? The same goes for my life as goes for prepping and everything else. Being prepared. Right? And here we are. Do what you can, whatever your plan is. Make sure it's not a fucking pipe dream. Make sure it happens. Make sure it happens. You can't rely on anyone. There won't be a 5-day notice in the mail saying, time to get ready. If we're lucky, we'll get some big clues. Right? And you can be sure that I'll be there, shouting at the top of my lungs, this is it, that was it, these are big steps, etc. And we're seeing some big steps, right? And it could fall apart tomorrow, hell, later today. The announcement could come, we don't know. It could be another week, it could be 6 months from now, it could be a year from now. What I do know is that they are taking dramatic and meaningful steps to destroy our economy, our constitution, our freedom, our social structure, our culture, our traditions, and the love we have for one another and our nation by dividing constantly and pitting, even within radicalized groups, pitting them against each other. So they hate not only us, but each other. And they even bring themselves down. Trust me, the people in charge understand psychology far better than I do. Far better than your garden variety head shrinks do. They know how to apply principles, not just to an individual or a family, but to apply psychological principles to entire peoples, nations, and the world. And they will use that knowledge, right, to destroy everything if they can, to replace it with what they want. Right? They want their Elysium. And that, if you look up Elysium, not the movie, but the word, they want their Elysium. Check it out. For now, you guys be cool. I'm going to step up the action here, get myself in good shape. Right? Got to make the ladies crazy in San Diego. Right. That 49-year-old guy making the ladies crazy. I got to get in shape, though. Got to get my health back. My health has been a prime concern the last couple of years, and I feel like I'm getting a handle on it. Make sure you've got your health as well. For now, you guys be cool, be safe, be prepared. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.